Style Relationship Wednesday. I am your host, Chris Jetemo, and we are on This Is Us. Of course, we're still at the part of the year that we would say New Year, just our second show in this year. And I've got an amazing couple that is ready to bring their story. On This Is Us, we always talk to couples. They share their stories, how they met, the journey that they have had, and they give us tips, just perspective on how to build lasting relationships. So if you would want us to feature you on This Is Us, kindly send us mail, lifeandstyle@standardmedia.co.ke. You could also follow us on our social media platforms at KTNLife_style for both Twitter and Instagram, KTNLifeandStyle for Facebook. I've got Francis and Betty together with me today. They've been married about 10 years. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Pastor Chris.
How are you doing?
Very fine.
Well, before we got on set, there was this thing that you look alike. And I heard you say that you've had that several times.
Yes.
Yes, we've had.
Yeah.
I think even when we were planning to get married,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that for us was a confirmation. Because people said, you guys look alike.
All right.
Okay, are you sister and brothers?
Okay.
Yeah, I think for us is the connection first in the spirit. I think just that brings out in the physical.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are grateful to God for that.
All right. When you say, before I even get into your story, when you say that's a confirmation, were you looking for somebody who was looking like you, or it meant that this is somebody who is meant for you?
It meant this person was meant for me.
All right.
Yeah, it was just among many other confirmations that we knew that God was basically telling us that we're going to get married and we were meant for each other.
All right. But then at the beginning, I'm not very sure that she knew, because I picked up that Betty was working. She says she was working hard. And you were a student at African International University?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so I went to study at Africa International University, formerly Nairobi Evangelical Graduate School of Theology,
Okay.
NEGEST. I was doing a master's in Christian education.
All right.
So one of these days that I was just walking towards the library, and I saw a lady also coming towards me. So she smiled at me.
And she's still smiling till now.
Yes. And she said hi. So I was really, really excited because that was one of the most beautiful smiles that I saw at that particular time. It's still a beautiful smile even now.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to talk for a while because at that time I was dating. So then, unfortunately or fortunately, that relationship ended. I think this was just God's doing.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I had a friend who was my classmate,
Okay.
who was also her friend. So we used to talk a lot, so we used to have lunch together. So what the friend will do is each time we'll have lunch, he'll make sure that I am there, and she calls.
All right.
And she's there. She's also there.
Well, that was deliberate?
It was deliberate. Yeah. So it was like matchmaking.
All right. Okay.
So he knew that I was looking for a wife,
All right.
and I think he also knew that she was also looking for a husband.
All right.
So that was our connection. So that's how we got to talk to one another, and we shared a lot, and we discovered that we were so passionate about ministry. At that time, I was a missions director at Parklands Baptist Church. So all I used to talk about was mission, mission, mission. And this is one of the things that really attracted her.
Wow.
And she said, this guy is in ministry. So he must be a great guy.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing of somebody being the connector for the two of you, that didn't worry you?
Well, for me, it wasn't too obvious.
Okay.
Yeah. His version of the story is we met outside the library. I can't remember that time.
Remember.
Yeah, because I used to smile to everybody.
All right.
But for me, I remember him coming to pay because I was working in the accounts office. I was the fund accountant, so there was a window that would make me see the students coming in to pay at the cashier.
Okay.
So one day I just noticed him because he came and took a little longer at the cashier's office. And I asked the cashier, who is that? You know? And I waved at him. So the next time is when now the friend that he's talking about called me and said, why don't you come and eat lunch with us? So that now became a habit.
All right.
And like he's saying, I was fascinated because every time he's just talking about God, he's not interested, you know, talking about ladies. And so it dawned on me later that actually the friend was doing this deliberately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now you were so fixed on your mission. And then on the other hand, you've noticed this beautiful girl. You didn't think it was important just to let her know that you were interested? You know, what kind of date is that where you just talk about missions?
At first wasn't. At first we were just talking about ministry,
Okay.
missions and all that. But then as we continued meeting, it was actually it became like almost every day.
All right.
We used to meet for breakfast and for lunch. Now, for some of you who know about AIU, it's a very busy place. So you don't really actually have time to socialize because you're in class after class, you go to the library. The only time that you will have fellowship with others, it's during lunchtime and during tea break.
Okay.
And that's when we used to meet and talk.
Right.
So as we continued to meet, I just saw that this lady was very good. And one particular thing that really struck me about her was the time when I was in school, I had some challenges. So I shared with her, and I told her that the church was praying for me, and also they were praying and fasting. So then she said, I would like to join you in praying and fasting so that you can have a breakthrough for that challenges you are facing.
Okay.
And for me, I looked at, I say, who is this girl who doesn't know me very well, but she decided that she want to join us and to pray and fast for something that affected me. So I just said, this is a wonderful woman.
You know, Betty, most times, because I interact a lot in the church circles, and ladies will find a man who talks a lot about ministry to be very boring. Here you were working, well, nearly in ministry, but not quite. And this man, all he talks about is ministry.
Yeah.
What was that attracted you to him then?
Well, I was also in a relationship before I met him officially for about 5 years. And the guy was in the corporate world.
Okay.
And I realized he became too busy even to go to church. So once that relationship broke, I knew the next relationship I want to get into has to be somebody who is serious about God. Yeah. and I look at that for me as God preparing me for the next, you know, the next relationship, and for my husband to say so. So when he shared, actually for me what struck about him was that one day I was driving then. So one day, him being a student, he was not driving. So one day, on my way out of Next, if you look at where the gate is to where the actual classrooms are, it's quite a distance, about a kilometer. So I offered him a lift, and I asked him where he was going, and he told me he was going to church. So I offered him a lift, and he refused. He said he doesn't want a lift. For me, I was amazed. How do you refuse a lift from a beautiful girl?
I was playing hard.
And for me, again, it showed that he's not really out just to get a beautiful girl, but he knows what he wants.
All right.
So the next week now, when he told me about the prayer and fasting, that was also another pointer for me. He prays and fasts. Wow. You know, it means he'd actually somebody who takes God seriously, if he can take time to do that. So those for me were, again, good confirmations that he's not a bad man to have in my life.
So how long did you take before you got married?
Well, we actually started talking about marriage in August 2007, and then.
By then, how long had you known each other?
For about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks?
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So actually, August was supposed to be my last semester in campus. After that, I was just going to concentrate on my project.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the last semester. And here we are with this wonderful, beautiful lady that I actually felt like she was interested in me also, and I was also interested in her. So one of the evenings, I actually finally accepted the lift.
I thought you were going to say you accepted the proposal.
Oh, wow.
And then we drove to Westlands. I was going to church.
Okay.
And then we decided to stop at Oilibia Westland. And so we just started talking.
Right.
And when we talked, I just told her, by the way, I think I'm interested in you. And I think and I believe that you make a good wife. And one of the things I told her, I was looking for a wife, not for a girlfriend.
All right.
So I was ready for a wife. Because, like I said, my previous relationship didn't end well. So for me, I told God, the next relationship I'm getting into, it has to lead to marriage. And I don't have time to waste.
All right.
So that was in August. Then in December, I proposed. Then we started planning our wedding.
All right. How was the proposal like?
Oh, this guy is fast.
I can tell. I can tell.
It came as a shock, actually, because I thought we would date for a while. So he has this very good friend that he's grown up with. So the friend was going to the States with his wife to visit the wife's family. So he had been left for the home to look after in that December. And so he had invited me for lunch. So I remember he had cooked. So I was in the kitchen washing dishes. So when I finished washing the dishes, I turned and he was there proposing.
Did he go on his knees?
Did you go on your knees?
Yes, I did.
There was no ring then.
I could not afford a ring at that particular time.
But you made the most out of the moment.
Then he just went on his knees. I'm like, oh my goodness.
So the ring came a week before our wedding.
The engagement ring?
Yes.
How long was that after the proposal?
That was December 2007. We got married in November 2008.
It took nearly 1 year to get the engagement
Get a
ring.
ring. I couldn't afford one.
Remember, he was a student.
Yeah. But that did not bother you at all?
No.
That he was in a particular season where he's a student, he's probably not earning at that particular point. That didn't bother you?
It didn't, because I realized for me what is important is, does the guy have a vision? Does he know what he wants to do in life? And every time I talk, I'd see his passion. The passion for ministry, the passion for... He'd always talk about, the things that he's doing in church. And I got an opportunity to visit the church. Then I wasn't a member of Parklands Baptist Church. And I would see the transformation that he's doing in the ministry, in the missions department. And I said, that's all I need, the passion to do something and do it well.
The people who think that if a man doesn't have money, he wouldn't find a woman. It's a thought that we contend with a lot. When people can't find a wife, they say, women nowadays, if you don't have money, they don't love you. So that's not true according to you, right?
No, it is not true. Because I've seen God change situations differently.
Okay.
Because after we got married, actually I resigned just before we did our wedding. So both of us were not working.
Wow.
By the time we were doing our wedding. But the Lord provided, because he actually moved out of where he was living to a place now that was central for us.
Okay.
And he moved in a month before we did our wedding. And since both of us were not working, we stayed like that until March when he got a job.
All right.
And we just wake up and enjoy life. And God would provide somehow. We did a small business that brought that money.
Okay.
But you see, again, the point I'm trying to bring out is he got a job after about, how many months? About a year or so. He moved out of his job. I got my job. So we've had seasons where he's working, I'm working, but God has shown us it's not about who is working and who is not working. It's our money.
It's your money
Yes.
as a team.
As a team.
Pastor Chris, that's one of the things why I got married to this lady. Because she accepted me the way I am.
All right.
And I think for me, it was not about money. It was not about me not having a job. But he saw the vision that,
Okay.
that I had and was attracted by that vision and the man. So for me, I truly, truly respect that. And one of the things that really struck me about her also. Again, that's what another confirmation.
All right.
That was my wife.
I'm aware that your origin is out of this country. When you were planning your wedding, was your family here? How did you involve them? Who did you have around?
Yes, that was a very difficult season for me because we had to combine two cultures. I'm from Democratic Republic of Congo, so I'm Congolese.
All right.
So we do things differently.
My cameraman, Macau, was trying to claim that they are Congolese too.
They are Congolese.
Said your second name sounds like theirs, you know, Mukusa, so yeah, all right.
Yes, yes. So I remember when I went to talk to my dad. My parents are here.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have one brother and two sisters who are also here.
All right.
So when I went to tell my dad, I was interested in this lady. So first of all, he asked me, where is she from?
The older folk will always ask that.
And then I told her she's Kikuyu. Then she said, you have money.
Can you imagine?
Stereotypes, right?
Stereotypes, all Kikuyus, eh? Yeah.
So we started planning. So of course I had to understand the Kikuyu culture,
Okay.
how they do things, about the pre-wedding and how you go to see the parents and all that. So I gathered some few friends. So I looked for my Kikuyu friends.
All right.
And so we had to do 3 visits
Okay.
as per the culture. So we went, the first visit was with my friends to officially introduce myself to the family, and it went very well. Then we were given another date to come now with the parents, and which I told my parents and my uncle and also some people from church.
Right.
So they were able to take me to their place. So that was really a culture shock because I had to learn a lot about the Kikuyu culture.
All right.
Yeah.
But then you also had to learn something about the Congolese culture.
Definitely.
Right.
One of the things that I was surprised about is first, their sister got married in March when we were getting married in November. So
Okay.
I got to learn a few things they do. But what I didn't know is the visit that now we do to go and see the family after the dowry negotiations is you always have to carry a goat.
You carry the goat?
Yes, we
Okay.
carry the goats to go
All
and
right.
say thank you. You
Okay.
know.
Okay.
And normally in a character you just go
All right.
and visit them, and it doesn't have to be just before the wedding.
Okay.
But for them, their culture, you have to go before the wedding.
Before the wedding.
But one of the biggest, I think, culture shock even for my family was in terms of how we serve meals.
All right.
They're very French. So I remember the first time he took me to his house to meet the parents. And the way we serve, against stereotypes
Right.
as Kikuyus is, you see all meals, if they can fit in a plate, you eat all of them. So the mom had really done a fantastic job. So she's
Okay.
done her ugali, her plantain, very nice. If you've not eaten plantain, it's very nice. So the plantain, she had done a certain fish. She had done, chicken. There was meat. It was elaborate. So I remember. So he allowed me to go and serve first.
All right.
Yeah. So what I didn't know is that there is stew that goes with the rice,
Okay.
and there is stew that goes with the ugali.
All right.
Yeah. So for me,
Stew
I
is stew.
put stew in stew with the ugali and my rice.
She mixed ugali and rice. That was really
I looked at the mother. She
She was
was offended.
Are you
offended.
serious?
He said, how come your girl is mixing ugali and rice?
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, that was a big deal. That's a big deal.
Well, but coming into the family life, you've worked your way through the cultures and formed your own?
Yes.
Oh yes, I can say that because she's learned to cook a number of Congolese dishes, which is very impressive. Yeah, so I'm very proud of her.
All right.
And also what we realized is culture normally just comes up when you go to visit family. But
Okay.
when you're at home, it's more of our personality,
All right.
the differences between a man and a woman.
All right.
So culture really is at the back burner.
Okay.
But now when we visit his family, sometimes they forget I'm there and they just switch into French and Congolese. I'm like, hello, I am here.
The same when I visit her parents. like on Saturday we were hosting her parents. So at some point they just switch in Kikuyu. And I was just there. I said, okay, this is interesting.
Well, I know you've got a son. You've got a son. So, who are you raising your son to be?
Good question. One of the things that was a struggle is in the naming,
Okay.
because their way of naming is very different.
All right.
You know, our naming is very clear. You can know who is the firstborn, who is the
Okay.
secondborn. And being the boy, it would have automatically just gone to the father,
All right.
yeah, to pick the father's name. But for them, you just name what makes you happy. So by the time we named him, he's called Akim Mukusa. Everybody's like, who is Akim? There's nobody in the family called Akim.
Does it have any meaning?
Yes.
Sorry?
Does it have any meaning? Akim?
Yes, yes, yes. It means God will establish.
Wow.
It's a Hebrew name.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it had a Congolese connotation.
No, it's a Hebrew name. We also just wanted to balance so that you're not pleasing the parents and you're not pleasing mine. So we are balancing and saying he's our son.
All right.
Yeah.
But very quickly, before I go to the next thing, how do you get to balance that actually? You've got parents who probably, I would use that, but very cautiously, they've got their own stereotypes. But then you love each other, you love your parents. How do you handle the in-laws when you know that you've got those differences culturally?
Pastor Chris, I think one of the things that I thank God for is that we have very understanding parents.
All right.
So they really let us do the things the way we want them to do. So they don't really interfere a lot on like now the issue of the naming. It was not a big deal for them.
Okay.
Yeah, they just say, yeah, that's a good name. We thank God for that. Yeah.
You can actually tell from my side, because I know how especially my mother, my dad is a bit liberal. He's a bishop. And for him, he's like, I teach my congregation how to do things. So I don't want to stress my children.
All right.
But I see my mother once in a while, she puts on her traditional hat. And when she first had that name, you know, she's like, surely, who ni nani?
Right.
You know, so she'll question, but she won't push it too much.
Okay.
Because I think she's also seen, you know, there's also a limit to which she can push it. So I think the Lord has blessed us with wonderful.
Even when I went for dowry negotiation, it was really smooth. I was not disturbed.
All right.
I was not given a hard time, which I thank God for that.
I'm aware that apart from, you know, just missions, you also have passion for young people, mentorship, young people, and you both love Manchester United.
There's a story behind that. Well, before I got married,
Right.
I used to love watching Arsenal. I'm not
Okay.
saying it so loudly.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, I really used to go with my friends to watch. So when we got married, I realized that my husband loves Manchester United. To date, we live by Manchester United schedule. So what used to happen is, for every match, that was one of the ways of us going out. So we'd go somewhere and watch.
All right.
So for the sake of the peace in the house,
Now she decided to support the best team.
So I started loving, actually,
Manchester
Manchester United.
Okay.
So we discussed the players, we discussed the tactics and all that. Yeah.
And you also love watching movies, right?
Yes, actually, when we got married, since both of us were not working, you can't believe this. We used to spend the whole day watching movies the whole day. So I even remember, so we'll put a mattress in the sitting room and just watch. We sleep, we wake up, we watch, we sleep, we wake up.
And we appreciate that, because I think that was a season, it was a very good foundation for us.
You really bonded, right?
We really
Really
bonded.
Right.
We developed time of prayer together. To date, we pray together in the morning before we leave the house.
Okay.
And that we have seen, that foundation of that first year has made us who we are today. Today we are both working in very good jobs, and we have a very busy schedule.
But
we
the
have
friendship
a
is
son.
intact.
The
Yes.
friendship is intact.
Well, that's all the time that we have had right here on This Is Us. Hope that you have picked up glimpses of wisdom, knowledge, nuggets from the Mukusas that you could use, you know, and you could actually look out for them on the social media platforms. If you need mentorship, if you're a young person, you want to grow, you want to develop in your relationship, you want to make certain decisions, then you can reach out to them. Well, don't go anywhere, because we're coming back with Talk to Pastor Chris. Keep it life and style.